I came back in 89 and 91 the globalization happened. And the next 2 decades have been wonderful for India, right? Even
4 decades.
3 to 4 decades. I mean, especially when I was running my business. First of all, with my kind of background, who would start a business at that time? Because of IT, you at least had an opportunity to start a business. And then, everything was growing because and Pune grew. If it was not growing, Pune was not growing, then I would have said instead of going to Bangalore or some place, I could have gone back to the US.
Pune was picking up.
Pune was picking up. So India was picking up, Pune was picking up. My business grew. I did a couple of things, like I said, the initial business was CADCAM Consulting because of mechanical background. But then there was this testing business which really did well, grew to 1,000 people. So all of that really went well, and I enjoyed that. And so I stuck around. In fact, if you look back,
so you worked at TCS after coming back,
yeah,
right?
For 2.5 years.
For 2.5 years. Then you started your own.
I started on my own.
At this point in time, let's say when you started your own business, right? Which was the first venture you said?
CADCAM Consulting company.
CADCAM. So let's say 3-4 years into CADCAM and probably then moving to another
so that was a consulting company called CADCAM Carolina. So it was consulting, and we were working with engineering project companies to help them with CAD related automation. So building systems on CAD packages to automate some of their design, detailing.
So CAD is the software which architects use.
Architects use, manufacturing people use, a lot of people use. So AutoCAD is a very common example.
I have heard because my wife is an architect, so I
very good. So these are the tools that you use to do 2D, 3D kind of things, even manufacturing and so on. So I mean, it's a tool, so draftsman can actually build everything manually on that. Whereas if you have design rules, it's something you can build automation so that the draftsman, the person.
So you are providing these services to
engineering companies, and Pune has a lot of them, Thermax, Praj, Elecon in Gujarat, so all of these are customers. So that was, but to be honest, I still call it my MBA. Because I didn't have an MBA and just doing it.
Absolutely.
And, So that was learning the ropes.
First business lesson was.
Correct. It got merged with a larger entity because some of us got together to build a larger company, and that's how that exit happened. The next step was the testing company, so which I started in. I may have talked to you about it. Verisoft was the name of the company, and it was one of the earliest pure play testing companies in India. And I remember thinking at that time that I was long enough in software field that to know that testing is critical. Nobody likes to see bugs. But I also see that there is no glamour to it. Nobody wants to do testing. And I remember thinking that if something is critical but doesn't have glamour, it must be a good business opportunity.
Very good money.
That's how it turned out. And initially I was serving the Bay Area companies. This was the internet period, right? 98, 99, 2000. So
and US was, of course,
yes. So these are all these startups.
IT
especially internet. So whatever systems you had, everybody wanted them to be on the web, on the internet, correct? Everybody was doing that. And all these smart guys wanted to build it, but nobody wanted to test it. So we were doing it from here. So that's how the testing business started. But also in 2001 crashed completely when the internet burst happened. In 1 month, we lost like 90% of our business.
Oh.
So that was...
These were retainer business.
So these were engagements that we were doing for people who were building software and we were testing it.
But so ongoing. Are these retainer or these are project-wise?
Project. That good you asked that question because we cut our teeth early on projects. So we were doing this rather than resourcing. Resourcing came later. So that's how I decided. It's very interesting. As a mechanical engineer, I left CAD to do testing. When people were asking, it was so early, people were asking me that if you're not a computer science guy, can you do testing? And of course, it's
Everyone
now...
would have a question.
Yeah, but of course, it's now proven that anybody other than computer science guy should be doing the testing because it's ultimately solving for some manufacturing or banking or agricultural problem, right? So whatever problem is being solved, that person has to be doing the testing. So that's what happened with our testing business. We were able to get we got scale because of course we were getting business from all these companies of building products. But we got people who wanted to come into IT and didn't have computer science background. So testing became their entry into IT.
And so you got very good raw fresher talent.
Correct. Fresher or even lateral who were working in some engineering company. So
and when you had started this, how old you were? When you started Verisoft?
I was 65 born, right? So about 33, something like that. Yes. So that journey was not only very good professionally, but I thoroughly enjoyed it also. Growing something,
Building something from the
scratch,
and then
absolutely from scratch. I remember all those test cases, test plan documents I prepared by looking at IEEE documents because nothing was available. It was that early. And if you're thinking that is tough to do, I think that was the only opportunity. If everything was in place, then what was the opportunity for you? So the opportunity was to build all of these things, which we happily did.
And what was the scale you reached by 2014-15?
1,000 people in Pune.
And revenue?
Revenue, see, we are part of a public company, so we are
SQS.
not SQS. So SQS is listed on London Stock Exchange. So we didn't talk about Indian revenue as such, but the public company.
But when you sold it to SQS, what was the scale then?
So we did a two-step thing. So initially, they didn't have anybody in India, so they wanted to start. But they wanted me to be around also because it was their first foray into India.
Of course.
So we did a two-step thing. I didn't sell completely initially. I did the earnout. I could have left any point after those earnout period. We did, earnout went also very well. Very interestingly, we did this merger and acquisition in 2008.
Okay.
Just 2 months before this Lehman thing happened.
Yeah, depression.
So it turned out that one business we had with us, which was games testing, proved to be recession proof.
Oh.
So the games testing, it was so popular that people used to know us for games testing rather than anything else that we were doing. And it was very, very interesting. I still love that games testing team that we had. We used to go to colleges, sponsor the fest,
Events,
college fest.
Yeah, college
they used to typically have a gaming event there. And all those winners we used to invite to our office to say there are jobs for you. You can test games. And of course, not every gamer can be a tester because you also have to have the patience to stop playing the game and report the bug. So it's not easy. You got to have that patience also.
That gamer mindset does not go easily.
Correct. Imagine playing a game which is going to have bugs one after the other.
Yeah, so your job is to identify the bugs and solve them.
Not solve them, but report them in so much detail that the developer should be able to solve it.
Okay, got it.
The developer must be able to reproduce it, right? Otherwise, that's the challenge of a tester. So game testing was a very interesting business, and that helped us, meet all the earnout requirements and so on. But I stayed on because the company was doing so well. I stayed on for another year till I sold my entire equity, and by that time it was 1,000 people.
Okay.
And I was, of course, part of the global management. I was heading India. We did an acquisition in Chennai. So it was an action-packed period. I really enjoyed all of it.
In 2008, when you had signed the M&A deal, that time what would have been the revenue?
So we were about 150 people at that time, 150. So you can do the math. It's a services company. I don't even remember the numbers now at that time. So 150 people. That group about 1,000 people. Okay. So that is where, in that phase is when I started working with startups. So Pune Thai chapter is very active. I was part of the nurture program, and that is how it started.
So you got some little free time post.
Not the free time. It was very active.